For anyone who hasn't met me, my name's Rikki. I am the Chief Growth Officer here at Profoundly, and I wanted to do a talk today about the real price of HubSpot Help. I believe for the first time I can share data-backed insights on what people are paying for HubSpot Help and projects and the type of services they're buying. I've been in the industry for more than 10 years in various different roles across HubSpot, and pricing has always been opaque and difficult. People rely on quotes they get from agencies, providers, freelancers, opinions they read on LinkedIn, and essentially guesswork. But no one knows if the price they're paying is typical. And I want to try today to lift the curtain on that and take a bit of mystery away from how people price HubSpot projects. I'm going to talk to you all today as if you're HubSpot customers, but I can see some of the faces on the line. You are also HubSpot service providers, so you can take the opposite view on today. I'm going to talk to you like your HubSpot customers buying the services. So what I've done with the help of AI, of course, because I would never have done this on my own, is take all of the data we had from Profoundly last year, anonymized it, over 2,000 proposals, over 600 projects which were accepted by customers. And I want to talk about what that looks like. No surveys, no opinions. It's just all real data. And before I get into the numbers, I think it's just worth setting some context on buying HubSpot services. So as we may know, in 2023, HubSpot sunset professional services part of the business. That means the only place to go and get HubSpot help today is on the open market. There are thousands of HubSpot partners, freelancers, and until recently, providers as well. But there isn't really anywhere in the market that's providing guidance on pricing, not from HubSpot, not from the HubSpot directory, and not from any sort of impartial person in the ecosystem. So essentially, if you are a HubSpot customer, you are buying pretty blind. There's no benchmark, and there's a lot of guesswork, and that's what we're going to fix together today. Safe to say, if you've ever bought a HubSpot service, the market isn't aligned, right? You are going to get an insane variance on pricing depending on how you approach trying to buy HubSpot services. On screen now are 3 jobs, which were the same jobs, described somewhat vaguely by the customer, but these are the types of pricing they received back. So someone was asking for their HubSpot to be cleaned. They got prices in a range from $11,000 to $50,000. They're asking for help with workflows, which someone priced at $5,000. Another company priced it at $75,000. Making reports and building dashboards, people are paying from $700 to $30,000. There's not a 20% variance in pricing in the ecosystem. There's a 10x price, sometimes a 100x variance in pricing. And there's a lot of different reasons behind why this happens. But for me, it falls into 2 main categories. One is, what is the project description? What is the brief from the customer? Often you as HubSpot customers, you put a brief together, but you don't know what you don't know. And those briefs can sometimes be vague and therefore be very differently interpreted by the HubSpot service provider. People can read it in very different ways. So when someone reads, I want some workflow setting up, that can mean going and cleaning the data behind the workflows. It can fix in all of the properties which lead into those workflows themselves. It can be writing and designing the content. There can be multiple branch options in there. People can go away and think this is a 1-day project or a 100-day project if the scope isn't very clear. There's also no shared pricing anchor and no benchmark. Essentially, if you're trying to buy HubSpot services, it's like walking into a car showroom to buy a car, and there's nowhere on the internet to tell you how much these these cars should cost. You're going to walk into the showroom, speak to some people, see which ones you like, and they're going to tell you the price, and you're going to judge whether that feels like the right value for money or not. We would never do that with cars, so let's try and not do that with HubSpot services as well. And I believe all of the problems I've just shown we can fix today, and I've got a set of tools which you can take away after the session to help you buy HubSpot services more confidently as well. So why are we fixing this? Why is Profoundly taken on this mantle of drawing the curtain up and revealing HubSpot pricing? One is, I really feel for HubSpot customers, the complexity of your tech stack is increasing every year. That's not just in HubSpot, that's the connected tech stack around HubSpot as well. HubSpot itself is also increasing in complexity, like the amount of customization you can do to HubSpot today, the amount of hubs that are available keeps on rising. So buying HubSpot services at its very nature is getting more complex. Over 70% of HubSpot customers today are using more than one hub. So they're using sales and marketing, marketing and CMS, sales and service, whatever your individual combination is, or all of the above together. And again, that makes things more complicated. And the buying of HubSpot services it has a massive tailwind, as it has done for the last 5 years or so. The service economy is growing massively. And our mission at at HubSpot at Profoundly, is to become the center of gravity for HubSpot help. And we believe if we want to achieve that, we've got to provide you with the tools and transparency to be able to buy HubSpot services confidently. So before I get into pricing, I wanted to first show you what our HubSpot customers and your peers buying. What are they asking for help with today? And I've put this into three buckets. It's kind of three layers to how people buy HubSpot help today. 33% of people are asking for help with quick or single task-based things. This could be fix some properties or set up some properties, tweak my workflow, build me a landing page, tweak a report. It's like quick, actionable help you could get in a day or a week or so. The large majority of what people are asking for is ongoing help. It's HubSpot admin, it's those revenue operations roles, the things we've been talking about before. Growth retainers, ongoing help from a HubSpot professional inside your portal to get better business results. That's what the majority of the market is asking for. And then we have the smallest amount of demand for full projects. These are things like integrations, implementations, re-optimizations, CMS builds. These are the general three layers that exist in what you guys are asking for help with today. But if we don't look at just the volume and we look at where are the dollars going, it paints a very different picture. So things in the quick and task-based help, there's a lot of it, but it's quite low budget that people are assigning to it. So it's got the least spend in the sort of quick help category. The ongoing help, it's got large volume and it's got good spend behind it. So people are spending a good proportion of their budget with ongoing help, but the majority of spend in the market is on full projects. It's the lowest volume, but people are really investing in big HubSpot projects right now. This could be integrating their systems. It could be re-optimizing a system they bought 5 years ago. It could be relaunching the second iteration of your HubSpot CMS website. I'm going to talk about why that is and what the trends are inside of those full projects as well. Before I even say what this is, I tried to use AI to make a graph. I should have known better. I was running low on time. I didn't have time to redraw it. There are a ton of spelling mistakes in here, as you can probably all clearly see, but the data is right. That's the important bit. I cross-checked the data. The data is correct. But it looks a little bit weird. This is what AI does to us sometimes. So what we see here is the difference between where people spend their money and how often these types of things are included within projects. So like I said, small tasks like cleanup and automation drive the highest volume. More than half of projects include some type of automation or include some type of cleanup, but actually the lowest spends tend to go in here. It's only 15% of what people are spending their budget on today. On the other hand, when you look at things like integrations and implementations, they are asked for less often, but it makes up over half of the ecosystem spend. Implementing HubSpot for the first time or re-implementing HubSpot for the second time, or by far the biggest individual spender last year was integrating HubSpot into another system. People are no longer just installing HubSpot and getting it set up, they're connecting it into their total revenue systems to make HubSpot more complete and useful across their entire business. And if we look at the trend data, so what was the trend data in 2025, and then using the data that we see week by week in growth, having a data-driven prediction into 2026. RevOps, cleanup type work, and CMS projects are high growth areas for HubSpot right now, and will continue to be the fastest growing areas in 2026. Early HubSpot setups are being rebuilt. That's what I read from this. People who bought HubSpot 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, when the tools were less developed, there were less hubs, they're coming back and reinvesting in major projects in HubSpot for the second or the third time, not just the implementation economy anymore. Automation continues to grow as teams look to scale up their processes, and integrations remain the largest part of spend and will continue to grow because every stream, every team has tools they want to integrate with HubSpot. Implementations will still be important. People are obviously still buying HubSpot for the first time, but as a percentage of growth, it's shrinking in comparison to these re-optimization and ongoing type of work from a HubSpot perspective. So I've just given you a ton of data, like what are people buying? What have people been buying? Where are they spending their dollars? What's growing this year? What's going to grow next year? What's the takeaway from all of this? The takeaway from my perspective is we are entering a correction phase. Pre-2023, most of the economy was about setup and implementations. The last 2 or 3 years has been about optimization because those early HubSpot setups weren't built for scale. Customers are now coming back to fix architectural problems and to optimize their HubSpot. The overall theme is customers want performance from their HubSpot. They want to see results. They've been paying for this system for several years. Now they want it to work and to prove the revenue that's driving into the business. And I can't go today without talking about AI, of course. It's the theme, but it's also in the data as well. So we've had you may have heard Jason cite this earlier, we've had a 137% increase in the share of demand that specifically mentions AI in the type of HubSpot help they want. And that's come just from after September 2025. That's not hype. That is actual behavioral change. That is actual dollars being spent. And you may say September 2025, bit of a weird date to pull out there. Well, that was when Inbound 2025 was at San Francisco. And for anyone who went to that event, you'll probably know that I think every single talk was either about AI or had an AI component to it. And that's because HubSpot launched or updated or relaunched a bunch of their products at Inbound. It was the focus of that. Whether that was the agents they launched across marketing, sales, and support, whether that was Breeze Studio to allow you to build custom agents yourself inside of HubSpot, whether that was Breeze Marketplace to take pre-configured agents and install them into your portal, the agents across customer support, prospecting, content generation. Data Hub was launched to give you the power to clean up your HubSpot portal so AI has clearer and better data to work with. And the Loop framework was introduced as an AI-driven marketing operations framework to replace inbound marketing. And out of my own curiosity, I had a look at the jobs that have come into us at Profoundly over the last week or so that included AI. So AI agent integration within their HubSpot architecture, AI implementation and CRM optimization support, prospecting agent setup, a website on HubSpot CMS built with AEO in mind, cleaning up their data and optimizing their enterprise system for AI and scale. These are real jobs that people are asking for us to find them pros for so they can implement AI alongside or inside of HubSpot. So when I said the market has moved, the market's actually moving again. As we've heard today, we've had the setup phase, people installing HubSpot. We're going through the optimization phase of people trying to get the most from HubSpot. And now we're moving into the AirOps phase where people want to use the AI tools that are available in HubSpot and outside of HubSpot to drive their revenue. We saw that it had grown 137% in just the year from September to end of 2025. Looking at our predictions of our data, it's going to grow another 160% on top of that in just H1 in 2026. But the important part here is AI is not replacing HubSpot spend. When you read the projects, it's actually about using HubSpot AI inside the portal and external AI tools alongside HubSpot. It's part of the HubSpot project. It's not AI is the project, which is an important definition. Okay, I'm assuming most people have come for pricing, so let's jump into some pricing data. I'm really happy for the first time ever that we have found what we're calling the HubSpot professional pricing zone. Across thousands and thousands of data points, there is an acceptance band that goes through the roof compared to all other bands when it comes to hourly rate, and that is between $100 and $150 per hour is the highest band that HubSpot customers accept today. This, on average, is what your peers are paying. Below that band, trust may start to drop. Above that band, scrutiny appears more. But that's not saying you shouldn't pay outside of these ranges. Of course, there are use cases for paying every type of hourly rate. In the lower range, you might be hiring a contractor for a very long period of time, and that range may drop. You might be a partner subcontracting this work that you need to make a margin on. You could be buying HubSpot services that are more commoditized than others, and you want to pay a lower hourly rate for that. And at the premium end, there are absolutely use cases to pay 200, 250, and above dollars per hour if You have complex work that needs someone with very niche skills. Some of the AI work we're talking about today falls into those categories. If you are looking for someone with particular industry expertise, I've got this property CRM that we only use in our market, and we want someone who specifically used that to migrate us from that system to HubSpot. That would be a very niche skill to find, and people are often willing to pay premium wages and hourly rates for that. But we're very confident that if you're going for general HubSpot work on the general market, you should feel comfortable and confident paying $100 to $150 per hour. Now, hourly rate's just one way to look at HubSpot spend. The other way is to look at project spend. This is very difficult to do because the spectrum of project spend across HubSpot is insane. You can go from $100 to $100,000 to $500,000. And in my previous life, I sold HubSpot projects for $3 million. Like there is a huge range here. So this is a very difficult analysis to do. So what I'm trying to do here is talk about some typical types of projects. So I've banded these into simple, medium, and more complex projects. So people coming and asking for one-off work, build me a landing page, build me a single report, do me a quick audit, build me an email template. The median cost people are paying for that type of work is $1,400. That is very high volume and the lower dollar range on the spectrum. We then have these medium sort of projects, clean up my data, set me up a workflow, build me a dashboard with multiple reports in it. The median cost for those type of projects is $5,700. Then we have the more complex projects, and this is the hardest one really to bucket costs against. The median cost we see here is just under $15,000 for things like HubSpot implementations, HubSpot re-implementations or optimizations, CMS builds or integrations. But within that end bucket particularly, there is huge variance. If you're doing an integration that's available on the marketplace, someone may charge you $2,000. If you are integrating a system that doesn't even live on the cloud and someone's got to do it completely on premise, they might charge you $50,000 for it. But these are some guidance markers around the types of HubSpot services that you can buy. And now I want to leave you armed with some tools to go and buy HubSpot services more confidently. Obviously, I had to give this a name. It's got a catchy name. It's a Profoundly HubSpot Help Toolkit. Anyone has a better name, let me know. That's what ChatGPT gave me. But this essentially is 5 tools that Profoundly offer to take you from someone who's not bought HubSpot services before through to buying AirOps type engagements. It will help you with the pre-work, the brief, the budget, gather quotes, and educate yourself going into the future as well. So let me give you a quick rundown of these. I will share the QR code and link for all of these at the end, so don't worry about it in the moment. So first is about knowing the market. It's the version of this talk, but extra detail, pricing on specific services in specific categories, in niches, in industries, on types of HubSpot providers. I think that knowledge is power, and if I'm going to invest a lot of money into HubSpot, I should go in armed. So you can download this ebook from us, which gives you 10x the data that I've just gone through today. The ability to write a strong brief as a HubSpot customer is really important. As we went through today, one of the biggest areas of wasted spend is vague briefs, underestimating complexity, buying little fixes without fixing the root cause of the problem, and doing repeated cleanup instead of getting your architecture right. So we've created a tool that you can speak to create a detailed brief that you can give to prospective HubSpot providers to make sure you get back good pricing and good all-inclusive proposals. We call this a HubSpot project brief generator. Again, super catchy names. Maybe I need to work on these. The next one is the HubSpot project pricing tool. This is your ability to go and set a budget for the project you're about to do. You can copy and paste that brief we just helped you create, or a brief you already have yourself. Paste it into here. It will look through our thousands of data points and it will give you estimated pricing for that project. So you can go into those calls with pricing expectations. Like I said before, this is like going online and checking how much the car costs before going into the showroom. So you can go and attain the right budget range. What I love about this tool is it doesn't just give you the sort of low, middle, high end points of those projects, but it actually shows you real projects at the bottom of the screen here, the title of those projects and how much people have paid for them. So you can identify your project with what other peers have spent on similar solutions. Next, I obviously can't do this without mentioning what Profoundly does. So when you're ready to go and get proposals, the best place to go and do it, in my opinion, of course, is to come to Profoundly. we'll speak to you and we will match you with the right type of help at the right budget range and help you pick a pro, whether that's a freelancer, provider, a partner, to help you get started and to solve your HubSpot problem. That's our business rate. And then lastly, the AirOps workshop. Again, I can't leave today without mentioning this. This is your opportunity to learn the new operating model. Why? As Jason said, it's imperative to your career, no matter where you sit in the ecosystem. You can be part of that movement, keep up with your peers, and get ahead of the game. This is our paid training on AI and HubSpot. I will put the link in the chat, but here you can get all 5 of these resources. Use the QR code if it's easier. If you go to the bottom of the page, you can multi-check the resources you want, and we'll get those shipped to you. So I hope you leave today with some power, like you've got real data. What are your peers buying? How much are they spending? What rates are they paying? How much are they paying for projects? And you've got 5 tools to leave you feeling more confident and to make better buying decisions. Thanks for listening, everybody.